perfect. And then still perfect. Let's go. Oat milk really is the best. Hey guys, welcome back to The Hideaway. It's still me, Douglas, and today we'll be breaking down the latest entry into The Hideaway entitled Wrong Answers. So this was a interesting piece. It's one of the, again, the title kind of came to me, and it's like, you always think of that like meme that like, wrong answers only, and it's like, these have all the wrong answers. Nothing's right about this at all. But I think it's probably one of those ones I wrote at like 3 a.m. as we do. But it's really kind of like almost like me talking to myself, but in like a cry for help kind of manner. So that's interesting. But let's just start breaking it down. You know what we do here. Let's just jump into it. All right, so the first section, it starts off in what I think is a very interesting manner. So, I couldn't come up with the words for a few days, and maybe that's some irony I'm not ready to face. And it is interesting because it did. I like wrote down the title, and then like usually I'll like start writing, but I couldn't. And then I was like, well, what a way to start it then, because it's like usually like I treat these as like stream of consciousness pieces because they are. And so it's like you had the title, you had some image in your head, but yet you still couldn't come up with the answer. So I thought it was very interesting to start the piece that way, because obviously once I got started writing, it all came out. So I had it, but I needed to like almost re-find it in a way. Ticking of the clock moves faster than the urge to say hello to a pretty face. I think that's me just reading myself a little bit. Like, time is moving much more faster than it would normally take me to like try and jump into a relationship. And maybe that's my ironic fate. Let's just leave it like that. Longing for a simple life and the golden promises of stay with me. Everyone, I think mostly everyone wants like, you know, a relationship, and like a simple life is like, you know, free of like the burdens and problems that we face, obviously. So it's kind of self-explanatory. I never trust the calm because I only feel at peace lost at sea. I have that imagery a lot across the hideaway, and that's just another pretty straightforward. Countless afternoons spent twiddling my thumbs against aggravated absences. And I think what I try to say there is I'm always like waiting for like the right people to come into my life. And the longer I keep waiting instead of being proactive, the more aggravated I get. Today's the day I just roast myself. Billowing against all odds, I stand to face off with myself for the 1000th time. Clichés and sarcastic similes bear repeating against a mind set to self-destruct. And it's again, it's like I'm just continuing to fight myself. Like, this brain is me, and however it feels and whatever it's going through is what I'm going through. And that's weird. But also like just facts, like scientific facts. But like, yeah, then you always like to say like, oh yeah, like facing myself, my inner saboteur. It's like, yeah, that's like, it's a cliche because like it's true, and like it just like everyone goes through it and everyone's doing it, you know. And I say sarcastic similes, like again, like part of these are like meant to be like reflecting on like myself, and so I'm like just being sarcastic to myself because self-deprecation is how we cope. So now we'll move on to the next section. again, I think it's another clever line to have, especially in this piece. My flow is never right. The editing process is tiresome. And I think I put it in like a bunch of my writing before, maybe even before the hideaway, but like, I would say my flow is never right. Like, the way like the words come out of me and like the way I like articulate things sometimes it doesn't always sound like intellectual or like it doesn't make sense when it's like coming straight from the brain instead of editing what comes out. And then I think that's, you know, double entendre for like writing the poem and like actually like editing this, and like it's all lots of layers, you know what we do. If I say what's on my mind, it's no use to lock me up for life. And so I kind of wanted to flip the cliche there, where it's like, you know, if my unfiltered thoughts are that bad, you know, there really is no point to lock me up because they're just my thoughts, versus like, oh, but lock me away. But it's like, no, they're just my thoughts. Some things are not meant to be said, but the death penalty has my name written all over it, blood soaked. And so I kind of, all kind of in like the same realm. It's like, there's no point to lock me up. Like, even if I shouldn't say these things, it's like, I'm going to die anyway. And like, I keep like, and if we like look back at other pieces, like I'm obviously like trying to expedite the process sometimes. And so like, regardless of like if I say or what's on my brain or not, unedited, unfiltered, I'm gonna die anyway. So like, there's no use to like lock me up. It's all like I'm going down that same path anyway. I can't control my thoughts dripping and trickling out of a broken faucet. Can you reach down the drain to find the missing screws? And so again, I think that's still me like kind of talking to myself. It's like, you know what's going on, like you know you're having these problems. Like, are you going to put in the effort to find those missing pieces to fix yourself? And then the missing pieces to solve this never-ending mystery. 26 years in the making, not one step closer to closing this true crime case. So I like, but again, it's like self-deprecating, but also like putting myself on this pedestal of like being this like mysterious enigma that has to be solved, and like find the clues, and like there's too many clues, too many Easter eggs. It's like, what's happening? That whole section is basically just me saying that, like, yes, I'm fucked in the head, but like, I'm sticking around. We gotta solve the case. All right, so this is an interesting section. It's very short, and I guess we'll just jump in. So, help. Why does that word burn my tongue but ease my fingertips with calm? And it feels self-explanatory, where it's like, it's hard to like articulate that need to others using your words, versus like if I write down these poems and like write down these letters, etc., it's so much easier to help me. But it's like, I couldn't say that out loud and actually reach out for the help that I need. Help. When will I use my gift for good instead of self-sabotaging grief? And that's like a dig at like this, where it's like, if my writing and like the way I can use words and things like that is a good thing, why aren't I using it for good? Why am I just using it to like give myself a therapy session every once in a while? And it's like, I have to be able to like care about myself enough, but it's like, and then it's like that internal battle still, where it's like, I know what I'm good at, like I do this for me, but like, is that enough? Should I be doing more? Or should I help myself first? I should probably help myself first, but you know how it goes. And then I end it with two more help. So help. And again, if it's like, it's in those moments of like, where it's like you're writing these things, or if I'm having these thoughts, it's like, maybe I am trying to reach out to myself subconsciously. Like these, like the way it's structured, like that's just how it, in my brain, that's how I wanted it to go. It is a little referential to another Taylor Swift song, of course. She wrote a song for Evermore called Right Where You Left Me, and it's like, I think part of the chorus goes, help, I'm still at the restaurant. And it's like, the premise of the story is that like, you know, this character is brokenhearted and like stuck in the place where like her heart got broken. And so I kind of resonate with that just a little bit, because like, you're kind of, when you like relive the past, or like you get stuck on like what you've done versus where you're going, you're kind of just, you leave yourself frozen there and like not really giving yourself that opportunity to like move forward. And so again, I think this is like me reaching out to myself. Are you okay? No, we're not. We'll get into our last section. And again, I feel like each of these like introductions to the sections are, I think they're like very apropos for what's happening, really. Reaching out through technological fallacies. So here we are. This is my technological fallacy, and this is how I reach out. And then again, I've like said that like a lot of this like breakdown stuff, it really is for me, and like I treat it like I'm like talking to myself and like talking myself off ledges. And now it's like I've really just called myself out here. Keep doing it. I've only prepared myself for the wrong answers, solutions meant to destroy me. So again, when you think about like the wrong answers, it's like when you prepare yourself for the worst, that's all you're gonna get, because you're only prepared for it to be as bad as you think it's going to be. But like, so, but then you would think that like when it's good, it's gonna be great, because like your expectations were here, and then something happened, and now you're up here. Not always the case, because a lot of times you just get stuck in that hole of darkness, and you're like, well, I knew I was gonna be here anyway. So, because who would ever want to keep this around? And it's like, again, it's like when you're that person that like sets yourself up for failure and the worst, it's like you become like, you put yourself in the black hole, you become the black hole, and like who wants to be around all that negativity? So maybe you should start learning how to be more positive, you son of a bitch. Okay, preparing for the wrong answers, I ignored the right ones. So again, it's kind of just reiterating that point, trying to drive it home. Blind eyes casting ignorance instead of wishful thinking. Again, trying to, and I think it was like pessimistic narcissism, and that's kind of where I get stuck sometimes. And so instead of, you know, having these wishful thoughts and like being more positive, like blindly just being like, oh, everything sucks. If this is gonna just continue to be bad, it's gonna stay bad. It's gonna keep staying bad. Optimistic illusions meant to ease me. And so I think part of like the struggle of like getting out of this like pessimistic attitude is that like anything that feels slightly happy or optimistic feels fake, because you're so used to like it being so bad. Dastardly deception entangled me, and so that again goes back to me sabotaging myself. But as you see, there's a through line, but it's always been me. So like regardless of like if it's like the bad thoughts or the good thoughts, I'm still the one that's kind of in control of them. So like whichever way I'm going, I'm still the one like I'm attacking me essentially. So this piece was really interesting. That's the end, by the way. This piece is really interesting to write. Again, very much like a cry for help to myself. Like, stop looking for the wrong answers, and like there's more to life than just your pit of sadness. But yeah, I think we can end it there today. I'll look through this and have my aha moment, and then we'll talk again when I come back next time. Alright, so that was wrong answers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, and that's all I got. So, you know I'm not consistent, and I probably will never be, so I'll see you next time when I see you. Bye guys.